Who are you?
I'm Izzy.
Izzy Gets the Across Town is a super low-budget indie punk flick starring Mackenzie Davis as Izzy, a broke indie musician whose ex-boyfriend Roger, who she still has feelings for, is getting engaged to another woman all the way across LA. So she's gotta get the across town. And that's the movie. Along the way she meets various characters that all kinda have their own quirks, and they're all played by some pretty big names. Haley Joel Osment of Sixth Sense fame, Aaliyah Shawkat from Green Room, Annie Potts from Pretty in Pink. The film is written and directed by Christian Papiernik, and it's his feature film debut. All his other stuff are short films that I unfortunately couldn't find online. And he also directed the NBA games.
Alright.
After reading all about it, I was there, dude. I wanted to see it so badly. It just sounded so cool. And after over a year of waiting to see it, as it was doing the festival circuit at the time, and I'm a poor dude living in Tennessee, I was finally able to sit down and watch it in all its glory. I did say it was an indie movie. First things first, the direction is solid. Especially for the guy's first major movie, it just oozes this manic energy while also having some really beautiful and quiet moments. And some hurtful ones. It's mostly handheld, and that's because they couldn't really afford a dolly.
You didn't have a dolly. There's no dolly shots in this. There's no... So it was either on somebody's shoulder or it was on sticks, and that was it. I mean, we just had to kind of make that work, whatever that was.
And I just think that's neat. A, for a movie to look this good with those kind of limitations, it obviously required someone who's actually passionate about what they're doing. And it's way clear that this is the case. And B, it also just adds to the whole do-it-yourself punk aesthetic, because the film was kind of made in a do-it-yourself punk way. Something I love is that the manic punk aesthetic isn't just there to excuse the low budget, to cover up amateur filmmaking by saying, nah, it's punk. Nah, the tone and style serve the story. They serve the character of Izzy. She's a riot girl, and as such, the punk aesthetic fits. Thing is, Izzy's not just a punk, and her writing, and especially Mackenzie Davis's performance, flesh her out way more than I expected, and make her feel like a real complex person. All the other characters are well written and acted too, even if they're only on screen for like a minute. And that's what I really want to talk about in this video. The writing of Izzy Gets the Across Town. See, not only does the dialogue feel real, but the characters are also well-rounded and unique. And the cool thing is, they all serve the story. Like I said, she meets a bunch of people in her quest to get across town, and everyone she comes across all feel purposeful. She starts out waking up after a one-night stand with this dude, George, who is a super cool helicopter pilot that reads literature, but she's still hung up on her ex, so it's too soon. This is wicked effective at establishing just how obsessed she is with her ex, because she turned down a helicopter pilot who reads literature! She then goes to get her car back from this mechanic, Dick, who is super infatuated with this girl that he doesn't have the courage to even talk to. Or rather, he doesn't want to talk to her. Because in reality, he's not in love with her. He's in love with this idealized version of her that only exists in his head.
It's about the way I want to see her, you know? Like her truth, for me, is in here.
Also, he's a really bad mechanic.
But you ain't going nowhere. See that? Yeah, that's what we got.
So, with the car off the table, she tries to get help from this dude, Walt. Walt falls for nearly every girl who shows him just the slightest bit of affection. He spent the night with this girl, Agatha, who legit just has to squeeze his neck, and boom, he's in love.
Remember the first time last night, and you gripped the back of my neck really hard and squeezed as hard as you could, and you laughed when I flinched.
From there, Izzy tags along with her and finds that she's just this huge nihilist who sees no meaning or purpose in anything.
What I never understood about believing in fate is how pointless it makes everything seem. No. It's like, why try if everything's just gonna happen the way it's gonna happen, you know?
Izzy is then stabbed by Agatha's boyfriend, Rabbit, and winds up at Mary's house. Mary is a woman who's loved and lost, and is stuck in memories that she can never revisit. She rewinds a 3-second videotape just to hear a moment in time from her past.
Just a moment in time. 3 seconds.
And then we get to Izzy's sister, Virginia. They used to be super close. They were both riot girls, playing music and living the punk dream. Thing is, Virginia abandoned her, sold out, and grew a life of conventional surface perfection that she hates. She cheats on her husband and doesn't even care if he finds out. She got to where she thought she needed to be, but is just going crazy in it. Which leads to probably the best scene where her and Izzy play a song together. A cover of Axemen by Heavens to Betsy, for old time's sake. And it's a really good instance of the music serving the story. Just listen to the lyrics.
I'm out of my head, I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my life tonight. I'm going crazy, do you wanna watch, do you wanna come? Cut off a part of me, privilege.
Virginia is not happy where she is. She metaphorically sold out for what she thought she needed. But at what cost? She ends up finally getting to the engagement party.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to go.
And she gets turned down. She's officially hit rock bottom.
Till the very next day.
When Roger turns up and chooses her instead of the other girl, things seem to go back to how they were, and it all seems perfect again. Until Izzy slowly realizes that she's not happy. She realizes that she was never truly in love with Roger. She was just infatuated with her idealized version of him. And as such, she's right back in an unhealthy relationship. Notice that up until this point, the music has been loud, it's been punk. The visuals have been chaotic and vibrant. Now that she's back with Roger, that's all muted. The anarchic soundtrack has been replaced by ambient drones. The colors have become dull and lifeless. Her identity as a loud, expressive riot girl is buried when she's with Roger. Her and Roger are not good for each other. She got what she thought she needed, but is losing herself, just like Virginia. It's no coincidence either that this chapter of the film is titled Axemen. So rather than staying in a one-sided relationship that limits her as her own person, Izzy leaves. The color comes back, and so do those distorted guitars and chaotic vocals. Cut to black. Call it anticlimactic, but I love that ending. It just encapsulates what this whole movie has been about. I saw someone complain that Izzy doesn't grow throughout, and, like, did we watch the same movie, dog? That's the whole point. Izzy starts out obsessed with this idea that she needs her ex back, that they're meant for each other and she needs him to complete her again. But she eventually learns that she doesn't need to be completed. Okay, I have a theory. Yeah, this is big brain time. Hear me out. What's super interesting to me is that, the way I look at it at least, every character Izzy meets is basically an extension of herself. Or an alternate Izzy that could be. Take, for example, the Izzy who only sees through rose-colored glasses. The Izzy who falls in love way too easy and way too hard. The Izzy who gives no and doesn't see any meaning in anything. The Izzy who loved and lost and just wants to go back. And the Izzy who got what she wanted, but lost herself. Everyone she meets on her journey is sort of an extension of herself, and everyone she meets helps her to become her own person. The entire movie, she's in free fall, kind of looking for an out to save her, to complete her so she can be strong and whole again. The idea of fate is brought up a lot, which Izzy's a firm believer in, and she trusts fate to carry her to where she needs to be, which she thinks is with Roger. But by the end, after having been Dick, in love with an idea rather than a person, after having been Walt, the hopeless romantic, and Mary, the girl trapped in memories, and having seen the nihilistic and empty person she could become, she realizes that she doesn't need any of that. She comes to learn that she doesn't need fate to get her to where she needs to be. She doesn't need Roger to be strong or happy. She's strong on her own. She's independent. She doesn't need another leg to stand on because she can stand just fine as is. And I can see one complaint being that she kind of ruined Roger's potential marriage and that of his fiancée-to-be for no reason. And while I feel like that issue isn't ignored,
But this still happened.
it's not the point of the movie. This is Izzy's movie. This is her journey. She learns to believe in herself because while her life may be a bit of a mess,
I am $35 overdrawn on my bank account. Okay?
Right,
My credit
right.
is blown to shit. The only thing.
it's her mess. This is good writing. No, great writing. And there's a really good analysis video online from this amazing channel, Lessons from the Screenplay. He covered American Beauty and how every character in that film is kind of a variation on the theme. And he explains all this much better than I can, but that's why this movie works in my opinion. Every character Izzy meets is a variation on the theme of independence and strength and belief in oneself. So yeah, Izzy's good as she is. And that's a pretty damn good message if you ask me.